Thank you for listening to podcast. How are you guys doing today? Thanks again for letting me hang out in your ear. It's really good to be here. We got a lot of important things to discuss today. Should churches have admissions teams? Similar to how a college has an admissions team. Perhaps this already exists for some of those like big fat churches that you see a lot down south and in other places. But at the school I go to, they have this big office for all the admissions people. There's always someone giving tours around campus. There's always someone who's out on the road recruiting. They are always out there emailing and spamming people. And clearly, it's at least a little bit effective, because my school has a couple thousand people at it, if not more. And every other school in the world, at least in the U.S., has admissions teams, and they're out recruiting. They're hitting the recruiting trails, and that's why you notice the decline in church attendance, and you notice the increase of people going to college. It's because of these admissions teams. Churches need someone who just outgrew the church last year, or just left the church last year, to realize, they need those people to lose their jobs so that then they could come back to the church they left, but this time as a paid job instead of paying to attend the church with their tithe money. And now they are emailing everyone in the county. They are driving to different states for some reason. They're doing all these things to recruit for the church. Why? Because they're getting paid. Nothing is more motivating than money. Nothing is more motivating than money. And so if churches were willing to, take some of their tithing money, and instead of spending it on, the youth group, they hire a couple of full-time staff who can then find a couple of other church members to do their labor for free or just part-time. And they need to hit the recruiting trails. They need to hit up every high school in the state. Pastor might have already done that, but all right. Sorry about that. Hit up every high school in the state. They should be on the road constantly talking to kids who already plan to go to a different church when they turn 18. Anyway, just some food for thought. I think oftentimes as artists, and I guess like a preacher, you don't think of yourself as a marketer. You think of yourself as that one thing, as an artist, as a preacher. And so it can definitely be difficult for, a preacher or an artist to realize they need to spend a lot of time, if not more time, advertising their art or their church or their sermons. And instead, they need to think of themselves as a marketer, right? They should be marketing more than preaching, more than painting, right? Because marketing is the name of the game. I see a lot of churches pop up on my social medias, like on Instagram Reels. I'll get 45 seconds of an hour-long sermon. And I just wanted to let you guys know that. I get a lot of weird stuff on my Instagram Reels. I've been catering my Instagram Reel algorithm to mostly just show me art. It's a lot of those videos where someone is revealing my paintings every day until I can afford rent or till I can afford a cigarette. And it's they have the painting turned over and then they slowly turn it around and reveal it. I get a lot of those on my Instagram Reels right now. I also get the Thought Goblin. Are you guys familiar with the Thought Goblin? And by that, it's the goblin who is in control of your thoughts, to clarify. So, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I guess you can look them up. If you do know what I'm talking about, sick. Speaking more about churches, I was wondering, well, I guess this really doesn't have anything to do with churches, but growing up, this has nothing to do with churches. I don't know why. It's hard for me to find. I'm not really good at changing topics. Every time I have a sip, that signifies a change of topic. As a child, especially as a boy child who was raised to love trucks and dinosaurs, and now I love art and writing. I don't know if it worked. Okay, quiet. But there's a lot of kids who practically idolize. Okay, this is my laptop charger's not working right now, and so it's making a little bit of a noise, and I don't know if you can hear it, but I can hear it. Sometimes when you watch a YouTube video, the YouTuber will mention a background noise. That'd be like, oh, sorry, there's a police car that just went by. But most of the time, I can't even hear the sound. I don't even know what they're talking about. So they could have just not said anything and made the video 3 seconds shorter. But again, it's all these little things that YouTubers do so they can extend their watch time, so they can get more money. You know, all these little things YouTubers do that, like, aren't such an inconvenience that it makes you click off the video, but you're just kind of like, I guess I have to wait here 90 seconds for them to take a sip of water or something. Or like, I did not mean 90 seconds. I meant 1.5 seconds. But are there 60 milliseconds in a second? I don't know. I don't have a guy sitting in some back office who can just pull up stuff on a projector in my office, so I guess we'll never know. No, it's good to be here. It's good to have a podcast. It's good to talk to people about stuff. Really trying to make a difference with this. Today's podcast is sponsored by I got a mouth guard a couple weeks ago because my retainer's starting to fall apart. Again, my retainer's broken twice, or maybe just once, because I grind my teeth a lot. But like, I need to wear the retainers to keep my teeth straight, but also it helps with the grinding. But they're not meant to like handle grinding, but they help with it. But like, they break pretty quickly over time. And maybe all mouth guards do, I don't know. The one I have is thick. But I got this mouth guard because I don't need to wear my retainer every single night of my life. I wear it, now that I have this mouth guard, I probably wear it like every other day, but I just go back and forth with mouth guard, retainer, mouth guard, retainer. And every time I do that, I'll be honest with you, my teeth feel a little tight. Like it's the next day, it's a little harder to get that retainer in, which is crazy. I've been wearing retainer for 4 years. I got my braces off when I was like 16. I'm 21 now. Why? How come if I take 2 days off wearing retainers, I feel like my teeth are all crooked again? Like, why? Like, have the teeth not figured it out? Do they not realize I put them there and that they need to stay put? Do the teeth not know they just need to stay put? Maybe not. What can you do? As I was saying about childhood, growing up as a boy in the Midwest, especially, I think that gives you some important context in the Midwest. Or maybe it doesn't give you context. I don't know. Shout at the Midwest, or don't. You would see a lot of boys, and even girls, and even teachers who were big fans of dinosaurs. Big dinosaur fans. I mean, always looking at photos of them and their long necks and short arms, always talking about them, always wishing they were still around, always playing with them. For a dinosaur? That's what I've been thinking recently. It's like, I think dinosaurs are the most overrated extinct animal. First of all, these creeps keep digging up their bones. All right, lay off. That's weird, dude. To dig up someone else's bones and then construct them to how they used to, like, then to set them up in a museum to put the bones in place so it looks like you can kind of visualize what they used to look like. If someone took my bones and organized all 347 of them into like where they would have been on my body and then hung it up in a museum, I guess I would be flattered. I feel like shoot, did I just ruin my own point? Well, okay. I think it's a little weird to touch someone else's bones. I'll say it. So I think the art geek a lot, I'll just need to lay off. Anyway, it's my beef with archaeologists. But also, I just I just don't know, man. About dinosaurs. I I get the appeal. I mean, visually, they're stunning, gorgeous. I mean, just gorgeous creatures. But I mean, boys don't like dinosaurs because they're gorgeous. They like them because they're probably big and strong. But what does not make sense to me is how on earth do all the dinosaurs go extinct because of some comet or whatever reason? But you're telling me other animal like I would think dinosaurs would be like the last one standing if they were so big and strong and tough. But they let beavers live longer than them, bro. All beavers know how to do is build a little wooden fortress. That's all they can do. And and they outlive you. They survived the ice age or the comet or whatever the crap it was. Beavers did that. I just get off your knees for dinosaurs a little bit, right? Because we don't know if they were chill because they went extinct. We know beavers are chill because they didn't go extinct. Excuse me. Well, this has been a productive podcast. I was hoping to go about 15 minutes, and right now we're 11 and a half in. And to be honest with you, I had no idea what I was going to say the second I said, welcome to podcast. You hear a lot of people say there are too many podcasts. Well, that's what you used to hear people say, actually. I feel like about 2 years ago, you'd hear a lot of, another podcast. But now it's just like, well, it's another it's another podcast. Like, we all listen to podcasts. Sure, I don't have time to listen to it, but like, yeah, they did. It used to be like, ugh, another podcast, or if your friend started a podcast, you're starting a podcast. But now it's just like, oh, they're starting a podcast. There's more apathy to it. Because over time, you just kind of become apathetic to it. To the things you love, to the things you engage in, you slowly grow more and more apathetic to it, you know? Is that what happens when you get older as a human? You know? Do you get more apathetic about just daily life? I don't know. I'm not freaking old yet. My laptop has kind of been screaming this whole time. My laptop is slowing it down. Every video takes a little longer to edit. It's a MacBook too, from 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know, man. Steve Jobs. That was the guy who invented Apple. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning into the podcast. I hope to turn this podcast into about 18 different reels that will be spammed on YouTube Shorts. Yeah. With all that being said, have a good night. Thank you for listening to podcast.